morning, everybody, and welcome to the Renewable Hydrogen Summit, organised by the Renewable Hydrogen Coalition. My name's Laura Shields, and I'll be your moderator for the next 3 hours, and I hope you have a really good and interesting session today. For those of you who are new to the coalition, it was formed at the end of last year with the specific goal of promoting the key role that renewable hydrogen can play in helping the EU to reach its decarbonisation goals. I'm now actually going to hand you over to the coalition founders, who are going to do my job for once and tell you what you can expect in coming up today. So I'm delighted to welcome Walburga Hemetsberger, who is the CEO of SolarPower Europe, Giles Dickson, who is the CEO of WindEurope, and Mettler, who is the Vice President of Breakthrough Energy. And they're going to set the scene and tell you what's coming up today. So Anne, let's get down to this straight away. Since we're at the Renewable Hydrogen Summit, can we go for the obvious question? Why should the EU focus on renewable hydrogen?
Well, first of all, thank you, Laura, and good morning to everyone. So we all know that Europe has been a long-standing leader in climate, but it made, of course, some of the earliest and boldest policy pledges to cut greenhouse gas emissions, and it led early in renewables. And this first mover advantage has really paid off. Europe is now home to several of the renewable industry's global champions. But to reach climate neutrality by 2050, Europe will need to build up several new clean technology industries. I emphasize several. And one important industry on the horizon is certainly renewable hydrogen, where really, by all accounts, Europe is in pole position to become a global leader, boasting several extraordinarily successful renewable companies, as well as a vibrant young electrolyzer industry. Now, it's important to remember that the Renewable Hydrogen Coalition was really set up with the explicit goal to help turn this opportunity and this vision into reality. We all know that too often we have laudable and really ambitious goals, but ultimately fail to meet them. So this cannot and this must not happen with this technology that really holds so much promise to decarbonize even the hardest to abate sectors. And that's why the coalition is so committed to bringing together what I would describe as the doers in green hydrogen. So the companies that really operate at the technology frontier, whether they be big or small, the off-takers, the investors, in short, the entire renewable hydrogen value chain. And since its creation, and you just mentioned it was just a year ago, the coalition has really been going from strength to strength. And so has the number of renewable hydrogen projects across the continent, with landmark initiatives like H2 Green Steel in Sweden, where really an incredible consortium has come together to build a green hydrogen-powered steel plant from scratch. Can you imagine a sizable greenfield investment in green steel built right here in Europe, helping, for instance, to position our car industry to be among the first to be able to offer CO2 neutral cars? And so it's happening. But let's also be clear, technological innovation will not be enough to ensure success. So today's first Renewable Hydrogen Summit, of course, comes soon after the European Commission released its flagship Fit for 55 package. And let's be clear, important interinstitutional negotiations lie ahead. So it will be crucial to get them right because a supportive regulatory framework and financial instruments need to be in place. And let's also be clear, they need to be among the best in the world, because it's not only Europe that's thinking about making renewable hydrogen one of the key planks of the energy transition. So the stakes are very high. And that's why the Renewable Hydrogen Coalition was set up to really provide sort of a one-of-a-kind forum to discuss the pertinent issues among the key players so that together we can make Europe the global leader in renewable hydrogen. So against this backdrop, it is really a distinct pleasure to announce this morning that Ignacio Galan, the CEO and chairman of Iberdrola, has been appointed the chair of the Renewable Hydrogen Coalition, and Niels Aldag, the CEO of Sunfire, has been appointed the vice chair. So combining extraordinary leadership in renewable energy and electrolyzer technologies These two will now spearhead the coalition's efforts to ensure that Europe creates the best ecosystem for renewable hydrogen, both in business and in policy, at the EU level and at member state level, and in global multinationals, as well as in groundbreaking startups. So our chairman, Mr. Galan, will soon kick off today's summit with a keynote, and he will tell us why building a European renewable hydrogen economy can really become the industrial success story of the European Green Deal. And our vice chair, Mr. Aldag, will close our summit with an exclusive conversation with the European Commission's Mai Verute on what it will take to make the nascent European electrolysis sector really a growing market and an industrial champion of tomorrow's net zero economy. So let's be clear, the future is not happening in 2050, but right here and right now. So let's really double down on Europe's ambitious plans for renewable hydrogen, and let's be really the leaders that we say we want to be. Let's put our money where our mouth is, and let's build the policy foundations for a cleaner and greener future. That's exactly what the Renewable Hydrogen Coalition is all about, and that's why I'm so excited to be here with you today. And back over to you, Laura.
Thank you very much, Anne. And I'm actually going to go straight over to Walburga. Walburga, Anne referred to the Fit for 55 package, and this, of course, today is the renewable hydrogen value chain, if we like, formal response to the measures that the Commission outlined in July. But very quickly, from your perspective, should the value chain, should we be happy about it?
Thanks very much, Laura, and also hello to everyone from my side. We can be very happy about the Fit for 55 package. Anne just mentioned the future is happening right now, and this is what we're discussing, the future with the Fit for 55 package. The Commission has renewed and I would say strengthened as well the ambitions towards renewables in this package, and in particular is setting, and that's why we're here today, setting clear targets for the fast and large-scale deployment of renewable hydrogen. And that's for industry and for transport. And this gives investors, and I hope we have many investors here as well today at our Renewable Hydrogen Summit, this gives investors a clear signal that renewable hydrogen is the right way forward. It's clear we need to prioritize the uptake of renewable hydrogen, and in particular in those sectors where direct electrification is not technically feasible. And this is exactly what the European Commission is proposing. Anne also mentioned just right now that there are important negotiations ahead of us. Indeed, the European Parliament and the Council will now have to take positions on the package. And this is really our unique chance, their unique chance to build back greener, to unleash massive private investments, and to stimulate the green recovery. And what we all want to see is innovations that bring long-term competitiveness to Europe. That's what we are all aiming for. And we cannot miss this opportunity. Anne already said as well, there's a great opportunity. And I want to emphasize, we cannot miss this opportunity. Obviously, and I'm coming from the solar sector, obviously a prerequisite for a flourishing renewable hydrogen market is to have renewables. If we want to have renewable hydrogen, it needs renewables. The good news is Europe has a vast potential of renewables to tap into. And what is more, building a 100% renewable-based energy system is the most cost-efficient way to decarbonize Europe. So we really must not put a financial burden on European citizens and companies. Limiting costs should be a key objective of each and every EU policymaker. And we just see it right now in front of our eyes. Gas prices are skyrocketing these days, driving up energy prices. And this is really a very strong signal that we need to decrease our reliance on fossils and just simply invest more in solar and wind energy in Europe. We need to strengthen our energy security by that. So without further ado, I'm very much looking forward to the discussions today. In our first panel, we will hear the first reactions of CEOs of leading European companies on whether they think the Fit for 55 package is really living up to the expectations to the challenges of particularly sparking demand and supply, because that's what the sector needs. It needs very strong demand and supply. Is it providing the market pool we need to make Europe the world's first renewable hydrogen economy? So we will ask them, and we will also ask and hear this perspective of the European Parliament. The member of European Parliament, Christoph Grudler, is joining us, and we will be asking him as well what the key battles will be he's expecting in the European Parliament in the Fit for 55 package. Very much looking forward to that.
Thank you very much, Walburga. And Giles, last but not least, Walburga talked a lot about the importance of renewables, and we now also have very clear targets proposed for renewable hydrogen. But do you think they're going to be enough for Europe to become a leader in renewable hydrogen as an industry, not just as a technology?
Thank you, Laura. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The short answer to your question is no. Targets won't be enough. We need them, yes, but we also need governments to put in place the measures that will enable us collectively to deliver these targets. And there are three sets of measures that we need. First, measures that will enable us massively to accelerate the deployment of renewables and of electrolyzers. We've got those two targets of the magic 40 that we've got to meet: 40% renewable energy by 2030 and 40 gigawatts electrolyzer capacity by the same date. We are not on track today to meet those targets. Let me give you an example from wind. To meet 40% renewable energy by 2030, the EU needs to be building 30 gigawatts a year of new wind farms. We are set to build only 15 gigawatts a year over the next 5 years. The main problem with the expansion of wind and solar and the expansion of electrolyzer capacity is bottlenecks in permitting. The permitting rules and procedures are too complex. It's too difficult to get the permits we need. National governments need to simplify those permitting rules and procedures. The second set of measures that we need are a certification system that will recognize the climate benefits of renewable hydrogen over alternatives. That certification system can come either in the famous delegated act on additionality or in the gas package. And at the same time, we need a good system of guarantees of origin. If you are consuming renewable hydrogen, you want to have a guarantee of origin in your hand that proves to you and everybody else that the hydrogen you are consuming is renewable. Now, EU law today allows national governments to withhold guarantees of origin for many projects. That is wrong. But the European Commission have proposed correcting that loophole in the new Renewable Energy Directive, specifically Article 19. Anyone who cares about renewable hydrogen must urge the member states in the Council and the European Parliament to support the Commission's proposals for removing that loophole in Article 19 of the Renewable Energy Directive. Third set of measures we need are incentives that will create business models that will drive investments in renewable hydrogen. That means some form of public financial support schemes, revenue stabilization mechanisms, climate contracts for difference, for example, like the German and Dutch governments are exploring. And these measures need to cover both capital and operational costs. Now, our second panel today is going to look in detail at what are the best sort of support schemes, financial instruments that will drive these investments. What's the best toolbox we can develop? And there'll be a number of leading industry and energy figures taking part in that second panel, together with expert input from the European Investment Bank. So, ladies and gentlemen, looking forward to it all, and I wish you all a very successful first Renewable Hydrogen Summit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Giles, and thank you all, both Anne and Walburga as well. As we heard from Anne, there is new leadership at the top of the Renewable Hydrogen Coalition, and we are going to be joined after this short break by Ignacio Galan, who you know as the CEO and chairman of Iberdrola, but he is also going to be the first chairman of the Renewable Hydrogen Coalition as well. So stay with us, he'll be with us shortly.